was a Sunday afternoon, the kind where the sun spills golden light over the world in lazy waves, and Freya was knee-deep in the trenches of adulthood, or so she thought. In her small but homely apartment, the walls were lined with shelves crowded with books she never quite had the time to read. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the faint smell of the wildflowers she had collected from the park earlier in the day. Her phone chimed from its resting place on the kitchen counter, pulling her attention from the stack of bills staring at her, their presence as anxious as the ticking clock on the wall. The message was from her mother. "Sweetheart, have you managed to pay your credit card bill yet? Let me know if you need help with it." Freya sighed, a sound that seemed to draw out all the air from her lungs and into the silent room. She hesitated, her thumb hovering over the screen, debating whether to reply honestly or to soothe her mother's worry with a white lie. Freya tossed the phone onto her couch, an ocean of overstuffed cushions, and stared out the window where the world moved on seamlessly. Inside her little bubble, the tension hung heavy, mingling with an all-too-familiar sense of embarrassment. She felt it wrap around her like an unwelcome cloak, the weight of her own expectations pressing down. Adulting. It was a term she had once laughed about with friends over wine and earnest nods, a word that summed up both the promise and the dread of growing up. At 28, Freya often wondered why she felt more like a child pretending at life than the capable, independent woman she outwardly portrayed. Her friends seemed to have it all figured out, or at least less tangled than her clumsy unraveling. But Freya's world wasn't always so fraught. There were sweet victories, the time she landed her job at the publishing house, or the winter morning she assembled a bookshelf all on her own, or even now, with the way she managed to travel by herself to places she dreamed about as a child. Still, there lingered this unsettling feeling that she wasn't truly steering her own ship, not with certainty, not with confidence. By the time the sky turned indigo, Freya found herself sitting at her kitchen table, staring at the yet untouched bills and the note her mother had lovingly tucked beside them during her last visit. "Proud of you. Always here if you need." Freya could hear her mother's voice clearly, the warmth of it ready to pull her back into a cocoon of familiarity and support, a place she longed for even as she resisted it. She picked up her phone, typing out a message. "Thanks, Mom, but I think I've got this one. So." She hit send before doubt could change her mind. In the weeks that followed, life seemed to test her newfound resolve. Challenges piled up. Her car broke down on a rainy Tuesday, an unforeseen dental surgery happened, and of course, a minor work crisis that demanded her undivided attention just when she felt like she had none left to give. Yet something had shifted inside Freya. She began facing these hurdles with a sense of grit that surprised even herself. She learned the art of meticulous budgeting, leaving behind old habits like checking her bank account through barely parted fingers. No longer did she lay awake nights wondering if she could handle tomorrow. The real change came during a small interaction at work, a typical Friday afternoon. Her colleague, Mark, tapped her on the shoulder. "Hey, Freya, how do you always manage to stay on top of things here? I mean, seriously, you make it look easy." Freya paused, the question catching her off guard. She shrugged at first, feeling the warmth rise to her cheeks, but then shifted to a soft chuckle. "Well, it's like learning to ride a bike, I guess. You fall a lot, but eventually you get the hang of steering." Mark looked satisfied with that response, his compliment echoing in her mind longer than she expected. She realized then, truly realized, that everyone was kind of weaving in and out of adulting, some with grace, others with fumbling fingers, but everyone learning as they went. Freya returned home that night, the city lights glowing like scattered starlight on the wet pavement as she made her way from the subway. She stopped by her apartment door and took a moment to simply breathe, feeling how the evening air filled her lungs and the small smile that crept upon her lips. Later, she called her mom. "Hey, I just wanted to say thanks." "For what, honey?" "Just for everything," Freya replied. "I finally get it, what you meant about being capable of more than I thought." The warmth in her mother's laughter was a balm. "Oh, Freya, you were always meant to fly. You just needed to find those feathers and trust them." As they chatted, Freya noticed the way her space felt, not just as a collection of things, but as a true reflection of a journey into herself. It was no longer a matter of fulfilling the role of an adult, but rather embracing the imperfect, exhilarating chaos of simply being human. The next morning, Freya stepped out into the world with a lighter heart. She walked with a renewed purpose as she meandered through the life she was crafting, not without mistakes or unforeseen challenges, but with the courage to face them. There's something deeply personal in the act of growing into one's skin. Freya understood now that being an adult wasn't marked by the absence of need, nor by an unerring certainty in all things. It lay in recognition, the acceptance that sometimes strength is asking for guidance, and other times it's in going it alone. Freya's story isn't unique, not confined to her little corner of the world. It's a tapestry woven from the threads of countless lives striving, faltering, and finding their own cadence. It is learning to own the moments that make her falter and those rare, clear moments when she soars. And as for being an adult, Freya knew she'd keep learning what it truly means. Beneath the weight of accomplishments and failures, beyond every milestone, she realized it was all about finding peace in her own footsteps, the ones that no longer had to mimic anyone else's. Today, in the simple sunlight that flooded her kitchen, Freya knew only this: we are all children at heart, some pretending at wisdom, others embracing the wonder in every step. With each passing year, she discerned more clearly the delicate balance between the inevitable aging of the body and the eternal youth of the spirit. Freya had come to take comfort in this paradox, understanding that life's wisdom wasn't just in gathering years, but in deepening these small yet profound revelations. In those quiet moments, she recognized that true wisdom often meant unlearning, letting go of preconceived notions and the pressures to conform. It was about allowing herself to remake old dreams anew, crafted not from society's expectations, but from her own desires. It's the gentle acceptance that comes with acknowledging one's journey, not seeking validation outside oneself, but finding contentment within. Freya was content with the chaotic messiness of discovering her truths. She embraced the liberty to change, to evolve, and sometimes simply to rest. Under today's bright sky, as the birds chirped untroubled by yesterday's storms, Freya embraced the present, a humming reminder that life in all its beauty is an ongoing, imperfectly perfect dance.